Community radio.
Made in Bridgewater.
104.2 Sedgemoor FM.
Well, in the studio today, I am very pleased to say that I have another lovely writer come in to talk to us. And I would say a lovely welcome to Sue Metcalf.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's really nice to meet you.
Thank you.
And you have a series of books here.
I do, yes.
And your age group is?
I thought approximately 6 to 12, but I actually have older and younger readers. My one lady is 86 that reads them. So
isn't that fabulous?
So I don't mind who reads them as long as they enjoy them. That's the main
Fab.
thing.
And let's look at sort of the stories are all based around this main character called Itchybald Scratchet.
Yes, that's right.
What an intriguing name. Tell me about this character.
Well, he started life because he lives underneath my sister's shed.
Oh, right.
So he's actually based on a real badger.
He's a badger, okay.
My sister called me one morning to say he was digging her garden up and making real big holes, and she was quite fed up about it. So was there some way I could get rid of them? So, of course, being the older sister, I thought, yes, that's fine. So I'm used to solving problems, so I looked on the internet, and then I found they could swim, and then they liked peanut butter sandwiches and bananas, and they live in family groups similar to us. So I thought, actually, they're not too bad. Surely he's not that harmful.
Yeah.
So I thought instead I'd make up a story to make my sister smile. So
oh, what a lovely idea. Okay.
I went into the kitchen and I went to put my cup in the dishwasher, and I thought, now what can I call a badger? Because while Berner's a very nice name, it's not a badgery name.
No.
And then I kind of looked up and put my cup in, and Itchybald Scratchet leapt into my head.
Wow, that's quite something to leap into your head now.
It is, isn't it? So it gives some idea of my sense of humour. So I went back and I called my sister and I said, you have a badger living under your shed. His name is Itchybald Scratchet, and he has a friend called Enor Mouse because he is an enormous mouse. So
I'm starting to get the flavour here, yes.
So they all have funny names, and it was all basically, that was how it started.
Yeah.
So I would ring my sister every morning while we had our coffee with the next instalment, and then that was book one.
Oh, that is so sweet. So when did you decide to commit it to an actual book?
As it was finished, I finished it just coming up to New Year's Eve 2014. And I gave the completed manuscript to my sister, and she was in fits reading it.
Yeah.
And then it just got passed around, and several people said, oh, I love this, it would make a lovely children's book. So that was how it started.
Right.
So,
and how did you go about actually publishing it? Because we all know that the publishing world is so complicated these days.
It is, yes.
You know, and there are so many avenues that you can use to get published.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Well, my husband, bless him, he searched around for a local publisher.
Oh, nice.
And found a lovely man that lived at Wellington, and he read through the manuscript, and then within 2 or 3 weeks he contacted us to say yes, he was happy with it. He would publish it for us.
Lovely.
So he published the first sort of 2 or 3 books. But then unfortunately he wasn't well, so we made the decision then to continue it on our own. So the last 2 have actually been self-published.
Wow. And what sort of a journey was that for you?
It is complicated, self-publishing. It's you learn as you go along.
Yeah.
And there are all sorts of things to consider, from the proofreading and the editing to making sure the grammar is okay, because it's a long time since I was at school.
Oh, yeah.
And there are certain anomalies.
And you don't see your own mistakes, do you? You know, when you're reading your own script, you're going like, well, because in your head you know what it's meant to say.
Yes.
And your eyes go, oh, yeah, I see that.
Yes. And, of course, also, coming from Bedford, there's a regional slight variation in phrase.
Okay.
So I may put something, and my editor may sometimes disagree and say, well, actually, that is not quite right for your reader, so I may have to reword it.
Yeah.
And also, when I was at school, there was silly things to me, like you couldn't put a comma before the word "and."
That's true.
Yeah, but now you can.
Can you?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I still disagree with that.
Yes, so do I. And then you couldn't start a sentence with the word "but," and now you can.
Yes.
And there is.
Yes.
And when you write adults literature, apparently they're just in a speech mark. They just have one either side of the speech.
Yeah.
Children's books have 2 speech marks.
Do they?
I don't know why.
No, that is very interesting.
So there are different things that we have learnt as we've gone along. So there's also the ISBN numbers that you need to buy and have the books registered and so on. So it's
quite a learning curve.
It is, yes.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because I was talking to a woman last week, and she's been writing a story. It's her father's story from the war, and she's been putting it all together for him and is trying to self-publish. Yes. And she's just got completely stuck just on formatting.
Yes,
she's just trying to get a simple answer to formatting this book for this particular publisher, and she's pulling her hair out.
I know, it isn't straightforward.
No.
And
I think, people have this romantic idea, don't they, that as writers, we sit there, we write a lovely book, and ping, somebody magically publishes it.
Unfortunately, it doesn't really work like that. Not in my experience, anyway. I call myself an accidental author.
Lovely.
Because I didn't sit down to write a book. It was really just written to entertain my sister. And it went from there, luckily. So,
well, give us an idea of some of the adventures that Itchybald has.
Right. Well, first, every book is a story unto itself.
Okay.
And then it leads on to the next book to encourage following the series and reading and caring about animals.
Lovely.
All the stories are told from an animal's point of view, so they're all from Itchybald Scratchet's point of view and how the animals feel.
Yeah.
So, for example, to give you a rough idea of the outline of the story without spoiling it.
Yeah.
He is on a journey to try and save his woodland home from being built on.
Okay.
But he has to stay away from people, which I've called upples, because it's a cross between up and people.
Nice.
And he and his friends, he meets different friends on each stage of the journey, and they have different experiences. So, but it's also educational. I've tried to pick up on things that maybe things people wouldn't think about every day. Like in book 2, there's an albino badger, for example.
I didn't even know that existed.
Yes, so there's funny things like that. And then also, as the story goes on in books 4 and 5, it brings like possums, because my character manages to get to Australia. I won't say how because it will spoil it. But a lot of people aren't aware that there are camels in Australia.
Right.
And if they are, how they got there. So that's in there as well. So I love what you would almost call useless information. I'm a mine of useless information, but I just love passing it on.
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing children especially love, isn't it? Because it's not useless to them. No. It's all just curious.
It is.
Like, oh, what? There's a camel. Yes. Let me find out about that,
Yes. So it's things that you can pick up on throughout the book. So teachers and parents, for example, could think, oh, well, we'll look at albinos then.
Yes.
And you can then open up that subject and look at what causes albinos. It does mention it, sort of touch on the subject, but not in depth. And also in book 2 it mentions litter and the impact that could be having on the animals and the environment, and it's that kind of flavour with it. So while they are an adventure story, it is all wrapped up hopefully with facts and interesting fun things.
And as you say, very relevant, especially in this sort of area of the world. We have had a pet badger that's been living in our garden.
Oh, right.
And it comes up for his peanut butter sandwiches because we did the research. I don't know where the set is, but he's got a track.
Yes.
There's his sandwiches, and then off he goes again. But and whereas actually the neighbours, who are farming family, that's not what they would rather do.
No.
But I think it's very interesting in this area. So we do have badgers. We have the whole situation of, do we cull, do we not? What's more important, the wildlife or us?
Yes.
And the idea of building on them, because again, we've got so much building going on in this area, haven't we? So I can see where it's very relevant and can bring all of those subjects to the youngsters, but with a lovely bunch of characters.
Yes, I'm hoping so, yes. I mean, in my opinion, we can't kill off all the wildlife.
No, it would be a bit wrong.
There are other elements of wildlife that carry disease as well.
Absolutely.
Whether it be rats or birds or deer, So really, we need some other solution, maybe for the cattle or something, to help this problem and help everybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
Quite right. I like that attitude.
But I have got farmers who have bought the books for their holiday cottages.
Oh, sweet.
So, it is a fictional tale.
Yeah. Well, no, that was exactly my next question, was buying your books. Where can people get your books?
They are available on the website. So
Okay,
just to key in Itchybald or Itchybald Scratchet.
So if we look up Itchybald Scratchet, we will find your books.
Yes, or Sue C. Medcalf.
Sue C. Medcalf. And Medcalf is Medcalf.
It is.
No E.
No E and
Medcalf.
no T, yes.
Lovely.
Yes, thank you. So, yes, it's certainly kept me busy anyway. I'm currently writing on book 8 at the moment.
I was just going to say, do you have some other ideas?
Yes, I do, yes. And it's the kind of thing that you live, that my characters live in my head all the time.
Yes.
So whether or not I'm getting ready in the morning or whatever, then I'm thinking constantly of their next
what are they up to?
adventure. Yeah. Yes, but in book 2 there are 2 moles who are on holiday from Mexico.
Oh, wow.
And they are called Taco and Guacamole.
Oh, nice.
Now, they are inseparable brothers, as you would imagine.
Well, it sounds like you've got a lovely sense of humour, and it sounds like they're all going to come through in the story. So I can only recommend that people go and have a look, go and sort of search for, as you say, Sue C. Medcalf or Itchybald Scratchet, and come and look up these stories.
Thank you.
Thanks ever so much for coming in, Sue. It's been a real pleasure.
This is 104.2 Sedgemoor FM.
Somerset's hits.